Hello, I'm Mark Setch, Senior Lecturer at ACAP University College and Course Leader of the Graduate Certificate of Applied Coaching. Just a little bit about me. I'm also an International Coaching Federation credentialed Master Certified Coach whose clients have included leaders in business and non-for-profit, military and other sectors. And I've also served in the life and wellness coaching space, coaching long-term unemployed and ill and injured soldiers and the like. And it was my love of coaching that in turn sparked a passion for high quality coach education and training. And so for the last 12 years, I've served as a coach educator, mentor and supervisor. And in January of 2025, I was appointed to the ICF Coaching Education Global Board of Directors and honoured to be the first Australian to serve on this board. But anyway, that's enough about me. Let's talk about coaching, which is one of the fastest growing industries globally. The International Coaching Federation, that's the ICF, which is the peak industry body, was formed in 1995 with just over 2,000 members. Now, 30 years later, there are over 60,000 members in 158 countries and territories. Post-COVID, this growth has been exponential, and in 2023, the ICF Global Coaching Study reported a 54% increase in coaches. So, why is coaching growing so rapidly? The simple answer is that when coaching is the right fit for a person, it achieves great results and is highly effective in enabling personal and professional growth. It's a common misconception that coaching is only about helping people set goals. It is so much more than this. In fact, a 2022 study concluded that coaching may be as equally effective as therapy for mild and moderate mental health challenges. However, the proviso to this is that coaches are well trained and experienced and stay in their lane as coaches. You see, because the coaching industry is not regulated, many people choose to call themselves coaches with very little or no training. And such coaches don't develop the understanding, skills, and experience to offer coaching that brings about lasting change. These coaches tend to only offer what we call surface coaching, as opposed to the transformational coaching that's offered by well-trained coaches. So, what defines transformational coaching? Well, this is not a question that can be comprehensively covered in a short amount of time. There are many credible sources and publications that address this. However, in this presentation, I would like to share 3 key principles that undergird coaching for transformational change. Firstly, transformational coaching begins with the coach, not the client. Secondly, transformational coaching focuses on changing mindsets and thinking before changing behaviour. And thirdly, transformational coaching focuses on collaborating with the client to create a new story, a new narrative. So firstly, transformational coaching begins with the coach, not the client. One of the ICF core competencies of coaching is to embody a coaching mindset. Among other things, embodying a coaching mindset refers to the coach's commitment to their own personal and professional development. As my students often hear me say, coaching is most powerful and effective when it's offered out of the overflow of our own personal growth and transformation. In other words, when we are not only offering coaching out of our knowledge and expertise and experience, important as this is, but when we are offering it out of who we are and out of our own authentic journey through the joys and challenges of life. Now, this is not unique to coaching. In the world of psychotherapy, there is a notable bank of research to substantiate the view that the person of the therapist plays a critical role in the efficacy of treatment, in addition to skill, training, and experience. By person of the therapist, I'm referring to how the therapist shows up for the client, how the client experiences the therapist, their presence, their capacity to express genuine empathy, and thus create an environment of trust and safety for the client. And as a coach and coach educator, I've always advocated that this is equally as valid for coaching as it is for counselling or psychotherapy. Research published in early 2025 in the International Journal of Evidence-Based Coaching and Mentoring concluded that the coach's virtues, in addition to their competencies, are indicative of good coaching. Qualities such as empathy, care, authenticity, compassion, and the like. So, in addition to these personal qualities, what else about the person of the coach is critical for transformational coaching? Answer: their presence. High quality coaches are fully present with their client. They're not thinking ahead for solutions. They're not waiting for the client to stop speaking so they can share their wisdom. No, they're out of their head and fully present with their client. Because the more present we are with our clients, the more attuned our listening will be, our capacity to hear what's said and not said, and to notice things that may give clues to deeper issues. For example, there are times when I've said to a client, "I noticed your pace of speech increased when you were responding. What's happening to you?" Or, "I noticed your energy drop when you were sharing that. What are you feeling?" The client, you see, then needs to think, to reflect, and to verbally articulate what was happening with them, what they were feeling. And in this process, it may evoke awareness of an underlying issue. And we begin to explore what that issue is. Sometimes it's a shift in body language. Sometimes a drop in energy or an increase in energy. Sometimes it's the actual words they use or even the tone in which they express them. However, if we're not fully present, we can miss this gold, which, when explored, may take coaching to a deeper level. So, how do we strengthen our capacity to be present with our clients? Well, we cannot be fully present with our clients unless we are fully present with ourselves. We all know how important it is to build rapport with others, but a lot of people don't have a strong rapport with themselves, because without that, it'll compromise our capacity to be fully present with others. How do you build rapport with yourself? Well, taking time to reflect on your day, on your week, what went well, what did I learn, what would I do differently? Taking that time to reflect. And that involves developing our own mindfulness skills, whether through meditation or breathing exercises, where we focus in the present moment. Now, we each need to find our own way of doing this. Everyone's different, but let me share with you how I do it. So when I go for my early morning walk, instead of thinking ahead of all the things on my to-do list for that day, I remain focused on the present, admiring the neighbours' gardens, listening to the birds, looking at the wildlife around the lake near where I live. And whenever my mind wanders back to the things that I bear ahead of my day, because I live in my head a lot. This is hard for me, trust me. And whenever my mind wanders back, I then, no, just focus back on the present, what's before me. Because when we do this, it strengthens our capacity to stay present. So for me, walking and remaining present in the moment strengthens both my physical health and my mental health at the same time. So that works for me. What works for you? It's important that we find our own authentic expression of being present in the moment. Because the more we practice being present with ourselves, that muscle will be strengthened, and the flow-on effect is that we will be more present with others, including our clients. Transformational coaching begins with us, the coach, not the client. Okay, so second point, transformational coaching focuses on changing mindsets and thinking before changing behaviour. Renowned author and coach Marsha Reynolds nails it with the title of her book, Coach the Person, Not the Problem. Often, what clients present as the issue is not the real underlying issue. If we focus our coaching on helping them fix it, they may get an immediate answer, but it won't necessarily provide lasting change or transformation. Good quality coaching education will provide you with coaching models, tools, and applied theories of human behaviour and more, and they are immensely valuable and necessary. But let's always remember that human beings are far more fascinating, more complex, more richer, more amazing than any theory about them. That's why transformational coaching begins with the person. Transformational coaches are curious, being present, listening, and learning about the person they're coaching. Let me offer an example to illustrate. A coach asks a client what they wish to focus on in the coaching session, and the client says, "I would like more work-life balance." Now, a coach who focuses on the problem would immediately launch into effective strategies to achieve better work-life balance. Important as it is, it will not identify the underlying issue. However, a well-trained coach would focus on the person and may explore with questions such as, what does work-life balance mean to you? What prevents work-life balance for you? And how do you feel as you hear yourself say this or similar questions? You see, these or similar questions are likely to reveal how the client sees themselves. It's likely to identify underlying thinking, mindset, beliefs, and self-talk that is not serving the client. And that's the deeper issue. And so an ongoing coaching conversation would explore how the client would like to see themselves and what might need to change in them to embrace this new thinking, this more resourceful thinking. Strategies for better work-life balance may follow as part of the coaching conversation, but there will be so much more motivation to follow through on those strategies if underlying beliefs about themselves are recognised and changed. In other words, when thinking and mindsets change, behavioural change will follow. Whereas if we focus on changing the behaviour without addressing the underlying issue, they will not achieve what they hope to achieve, and in fact may feel worse because they'll self-sabotage. To put it simply, it's no use sharing strategies for better work-life balance if they believe they are useless at work-life balance. I can't do this, or I'm no good, or I set myself up to fail. Those underlying beliefs need to be identified and challenged. And we partner with our clients to help them create new, more resourceful, more empowering beliefs. Or to use another example, better time management won't be achieved with time management strategies if they believe they suck at time management. So coaches with a transformational coaching mindset and skill set listen for what the client is revealing about who they are, as well as the issue or challenge they are facing. And they partner with their clients to bring about that change at a deeper level. When we are present and listening at a deeper level, we will in turn ask our clients insightful, evocative questions they may not be asking themselves. Because when they dig deep and find the answer to those questions within, they are gifted with new conscious awareness and they're motivated to change. For example, one of my leadership coaching clients hired me as a coach to develop his leadership skills for overseeing and expanding accounting practice. After about a year of coaching, He said to me, "You know, Mark, if my wife met you in the street, she would give you a huge hug." And I said, "Okay, I'm listening." And he said, "Because I know I hired you to help me with my leadership, but your coaching actually saved my marriage." I still get goosebumps when I hear that. This is what transformational coaching's about. This is why I do what I do. When we focus on coaching the person, we will embark on a journey with our clients to address deeper roadblocks that are impacting all facets of their life, personal and professional. And as we assist them in changing mindsets, thinking and beliefs, then action and behaviour will also change and align with that new empowered thinking. Do we need tools, strategies, models, and a deep knowledge base to complement how we show up as coaches? Absolutely. So in addition to developing the art of being present, listening at multiple levels, and asking simple yet powerful questions, experienced transformational coaches are committed to studying evidence-based coaching psychology and applied neuroscience to better understand how to coach at a deeper level. You may have heard of the GROW model. It's an internationally recognised and valued coaching model. Well-trained coaches, though, are equipped with so much more. Developing skills in cognitive behavioural coaching, solution-focused coaching, acceptance and commitment coaching, to name but a few. They will provide coaches with the tools they need to build on transformational models and coach for transformational change. Transformational coaching focuses on changing mindsets, thinking and beliefs, how our client sees themselves before changing behaviour. And thirdly, transformational coaching focuses on collaborating with clients to create a new story, a new narrative. You see, this follows on from the previous principle. Our thinking, our beliefs, our mindsets will inform the unwritten and often non-conscious stories we tell ourselves. Self-limiting beliefs and negative self-talk have often sabotaged wonderful dreams. Some years ago, I had the privilege of offering coaching to ill and injured soldiers, some of whom were preparing to return to active service and some who were transitioning out of the army. I remember one young soldier in his early 20s who was cleared for medical discharge. We had some wonderful coaching conversations about exploring a new career. He shared that his dream was to be a high school teacher, but he said, "I could never do that because I'm not smart enough to study at uni. I sucked at high school." Hear the self-limiting belief? I'm not smart enough to study at uni. So through our coaching conversations, I challenged that belief. We explored where it came from and what may be a more resourceful, empowering belief. And he decided, I got this. I can do this. And I got him to say that. Can you believe that? And he said, I got this. I can do this. And we began to talk about ways he could reinforce this more resourceful belief. We explored what an I can do this mindset looked like, and what evidence he had that aligned with this new belief. When he reflected back on what he'd accomplished over the years, he found numerous examples to substantiate the I can do this belief. Through the coaching conversations that followed, I had the privilege of partnering with him to create a new story, a new narrative, a clear purpose in his life, a vision to be a great high school teacher and a role model to teenagers. He envisaged himself before the class, and that created an awesome state and motivation to pursue this. He was the one that created the new narrative, not me. I collaborated with him in the process, but he created it. Sometimes the old story would surface in conversation, the old unresourceful thinking, something would happen to trigger that self-limiting belief, and I would gently but firmly affirm, hey, I'm hearing some of the old story.
I'd love to support you in creating a new story, a story of your present and future, not a story of your past that is not serving your dreams, your hopes, your goals, but a new, compelling, life-giving story. Coaching for transformational change is about listening for client stories, narratives that are not serving them, and to partner with them to create new stories. Often clients will use metaphors which give insight into their narrative. Experienced coaches will listen for and explore those metaphors, as they may very well be keys to the client creating a new story. I recall one client, for example, who, when lamenting about the challenges in life, just made a statement. He says, "Mark, my life is like watching a rerun of a bad movie." And I thought, can I stop you there? I could have easily let this go, but I discerned this was a potentially powerful metaphor to work with. So I asked him if we could explore together that statement, this metaphor, and he agreed. So I invited him to imagine what might need to change to turn it from a bad movie to a great movie. I asked him if he could imagine himself as the director of this movie, what he would like to change in the script, in the plot, in the characters. Who was he, his character in the movie? And he worked on this until he was happy with the change. And you can see where I'm going with this. I then asked him, so mate, what might need to change in you to embrace this new character, this new movie? And from there, we identified changes in thinking, changes in beliefs, changes in actions, all that he needed to take on to reinforce this new change in thinking. We talked about who might be in his corner, who might support him in following through on these actions, that inbuilt accountability. Who might support him in reinforcing the changes to live the new story. It was so powerful. Transformational coaching involves collaborating with clients to create a new story, a new narrative, one which focuses on aligning compelling dreams and visions they have for their lives. A story that is anchored with specific, measurable, achievable, realistic and time goals. Yeah, the old SMART goals. Goal setting is still very important in coaching, but it will be so much more powerful if we partner with the client to address the who, the person of the client, the underlying thinking, beliefs, mindsets, and the story that they are creating. Now, you may have noticed I've used the word partnering with the client a few times. This highlights an important distinctive of transformational coaching. The client is the expert in their life. The coach does not tell the client what they should do, but rather partners with them in pursuing what they wish to accomplish. The ICF definition of coaching is partnering with clients in a thought-provoking and creative process that inspires them to maximise their personal and professional potential. Some people confuse coaching with consulting, because when you hire a consultant, you expect to receive expert advice, whereas in transformational coaching, the client is the expert in their own life, and the coach partners with them to gain conscious awareness of what they wish to accomplish and why, and what's getting in the way of them achieving this, and what needs to change in them, their thinking, beliefs and narrative to pursue this. But the client is always in the driver's seat. I will often say to clients when I'm engaging with a new client, imagine our coaching journey as a road trip. You are driving and I, your coach, am a passenger. Along the road, we may have a conversation about the terrain we are seeing, where we're heading. We may come across roadblocks and we'll discuss together how to circumvent them to keep moving on the journey. Sometimes we'll come to a fork in the road and we'll have a conversation about which way to turn. But you are in the driver's seat, not me. You're behind the wheel, not me. So to recap, transformational coaching begins with the coach, not the client. Transformational coaching focuses on changing mindsets and thinking before changing behaviour. And transformational coaching focuses on collaborating with the client to create a new story, a new narrative. All of this and so much more forms part of the curriculum of the Graduate Certificate of Applied Coaching at ACAP University College, where you are not only taught the theory, but apply it in practice coaching with feedback and guidance from experienced coaches. Coaching is more than a career. For me, it's a vocation. What a privilege it is to partner with people and see lives changed, personally and professionally. We may never fully realise the ripple effect of high-quality transformational coaching. Has this stirred an interest, maybe even a passion in you? So, would you like to explore further? There are a few ways you can do that. Now, you may have already checked out our website, but if not, go to acap.edu.au, click on the Courses tab and select Coaching as your study area. You'll find details of descriptions of our unit content, trimester commencement, and much more. Maybe you're ready to take the step and enrol and would like to chat about the process. If so, I really encourage you to talk to one of our amazing course advisors by calling 1800 039 139. This could be the first step in you being part of that ripple effect, being part of the journey of transformational change for others, and experiencing the fulfillment that comes from paying it forward. That's what I love about coaching. Maybe this is for you.